Eleanor Picciotto, and I'm the editor-at-large for the 1916 Jewelry. I'm very excited because I'm currently downtown LA in the heart of, I could say, kind of the Diamond District, but I'm here with Trudy Tracy, who happens to be the Diamond Stylist at Norman Silverman, a company founded in 1982. So to some extent, Norman Silverman has been around and he's been kind of the pioneer and founding designer brand when it comes to diamonds, big diamond, quality diamonds. My first question to you is, how do you become the girl's probably most dream job, diamond stylist?
Well, that's a great question. It kind of fell into it, actually. I was at a retail store for 35 years, selling beautiful jewelry, of course. And then it was just kind of a love that I have. I love fashion. And so I just started kind of seeing things and putting things together for my clients and kind of being on just knowing what was coming next. And so then I just started putting things together with my old, when I was in retail. And then about 3 years ago, I had so much success selling my favorite brand, which is Norman Silverman. And so I ended up coming to work with them. They were doing a full rebrand. They've been around, like you said, since 1982. Diamond classics, just premier quality. And so as a retailer, if you wanted something big and special, you called Norman Silverman because they didn't have one, they had 10 options. And so that's really unique because when you're a retailer, you don't want to invest so much money in a big piece because you're going to sell it probably, but it could take some time. So from a buying standpoint, that's not what you want to do. So where we come in, it was very nice to have a vault that was available to the people that actually sold their product. And then we could just pick from their vault. When we'd have people, I'd actually bring customers to the office, sometimes very special customers.
So it's interesting how having the experience of being in the retail side of things, especially as you were saying that Norman Silverman has grown to be your favorite diamond brand, what makes a diamond brand different from another one? What makes a solitaire better than the other one? If you take quality and certificate and all things taken in consideration, you can only do so much.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I would say first and foremost, especially when you're selling, like I said, big pieces and big classics, especially that will be heirloom jewelry that will go on forever. Number one is you want the quality to be there. You want the make. And so many people don't educate their customers about make, which is cut. Because you'll see so many different diamond tennis bracelets. You'll see them in the smallest of stores, and make is everything. It's basically how that diamond is cut and proportioned to get the most brilliance. And Norman does everything fabric. He calibrates everything. So we have some very big Riviera pieces, tapered, pieces that are like the center stone would be, say, 3 carat, and then the next one has to be maybe 1.5 carats. Can you imagine having that just perfect? Wish I should have brought one out to show you, but just perfectly done so that it's your eye would see it if it was a bit off. So everything is calibrated, and even down to the make where it's all perfectly matched. So that's number one. Number two, I would say, is their integrity and their business sense is amazing. They will tell you no one works harder for a retailer than Norman Silverman. And I've witnessed it so many times. They love to say yes. They're not too busy for you. You become their most important customer. And I just think from a retail standpoint, that was so special to me because there's a lot of people out there and I could have chosen a lot of people. And I sold some wonderful, beautiful brands in that time period. But the Silvermans have such a business ethic and their integrity is everything to them. And that's what sets them aside, besides first and foremost, of course, the quality. If they're the nicest people in the world and the most honest and they don't have great jewelry, then you don't really want that.
So you had integrity, we've got quality, and then third time's a charm.
I think the next thing is they're innovative. Diamond classics are great. I'm pretty trendy. I like style and I like fashion, but I also have a lot of pieces of jewelry because I've collected over the years in the 35 years that I don't wear right now because they're not in style. But with your diamond classics, they're always in style. And you hand that down and it becomes so sentimental. What an heirloom, what a gift, that your daughter has watched you wear that. And so I would say that third part is just that they keep it classic, but they watch the trends. For instance, this is, of course you go with, say a round tennis bracelet. Of course we carry that. But then isn't it fun to actually have a place that you can go that would have every single shape in a tennis bracelet? Because how fun is it to have emerald cuts versus rounds? And honestly, you can see they go from, 5 carat on up. They get big. And it's so fun. I do all the shoots. And so I'm very involved in that. And it's so fun to photograph like big pieces, kind of like the one that, that shows up, right?
I'm wearing quite a piece, and especially being based in LA and during the red carpet season, you must have a blast.
Yes, we have a lot of interest in that place. We have been seen on the red carpet quite a bit. But I would say I just love that they're innovative with their styling, but still keeping it classic.
So if we go back to the mystery man that normal Silverman is, because he's also a very discreet person, how do you become Norman Silverman in the first place?
He is so mysterious to say. He actually he lived in New York, and he came here in 1980, and he was actually apprenticing for an acquaintance, and he was selling just small stones.
Okay.
And he started...
It's still a thing, just sell
just the side stones, right? That's how he got started. And then a couple of years later, it's like, okay, I'm ready to go on my own. And so he did that, and he still was doing what he was doing, selling manufacturers, loose stones. And then he found that manufacturers were taking part of the parcel, but not taking the rest of it. So he'd take those leftover diamonds, and he started mounting them. And that's how he got started. And then, so when I was quizzing him about this, I got in the business in 1986. So this was quite a ways out from like when he started. And I said, what size stones were you selling at that time? And he said 3 to 5. Just so you know, in 1986, a carat was pretty big, carat and a half. So he knew, he was kind of ahead of the game, if you will. He knew ahead of time, like he was already interested in big for the market.
And have you seen in style, obviously, but now being on the other side, an evolution on the consumer standpoint on how they wear jewelry, how they wear diamond, how they choose diamond, and what size of diamonds do they wear?
Just in overall, masses.
In the last 35 years in the business, what is probably the most thing that's done on the most in terms of changes?
Oh, I love that. That's so fun. When I first got into the business, it was very you wore one necklace, one bracelet, one one ring, maybe a right hand ring. And everything was pretty small. And today it has just evolved, and I love it. We're such an athleisure group of women, everywhere. That's our gang, right? That's what we wear. And I love that people are not afraid. This generation is not afraid to wear their diamonds and wear them big. And the other thing that I love is, layering is great, just one at a time and perfectly layered.
The neck mess you showed me.
The neck mess. And how fun is that? I mean, even when you look at that, I just threw all those on there, but right? It's just fun. It just looks so great. And that's what people are not afraid to do today, which is where they were just wearing one. And as I go to different jewelers, I have to kind of help people break out of that, especially like women my age, because they're not as accustomed to that. It's like, oh no, I just wear one, But no, it's so fun to watch people. It's like, less isn't more in this case. So add to it.
That's interesting, because when on a consumer standpoint, you've handled and you've dealt with so many clients from so many different age and background and style. What are the top 3 pieces, the first 3 pieces you'd get from Norman Silverman if you were to start a diamond classic collection?
Well, number 1, your wedding ring. You start there, and
Yeah, but you kind of have to wait a long time to get a wedding ring if you...
Not from here. We do have smaller. He told me he doesn't discriminate. We have some smaller stones.
But what if you didn't get married?
Oh, easy. You get your own ring for sure. And you know what? You choose the shape first of all. What is you? And I think that with center stones, it's very much a trend. When I first got in the business, marquise were the thing. And then it went to princess cuts. Rounds always stay. They never leave.
you can't go wrong
No.
with its
Classic.
like the little black dress. You need
Yep.
to have one.
Absolutely. So rounds always stay, and that's why I think a tennis bracelet is such a good starting point. Like, but look, you can go from here, you
So
know,
what you have.
to what we have today at Norman Silverman. But you start there, and then that becomes so special to you, and that's what your little kids start to see you in. Those are the ones that they watch you grow with, and then of course when you get bigger pieces, that's even more fun. I think a pair of studs, as you can see, where are my studs? Here. Those are just 10 carat.
Casual.
They're the perfect size for everyone. But you start, and then your jeweler will always let you upgrade. I don't know a jeweler out there that won't let you like start with a carat. And then I did this for years. I'd have them just sneak it off out of their jewelry box, and, you know, come anniversary, it's like, oh my gosh, my 1 carat screwed it too. You know, you can do that. But it's also nice to have different sizes, you know, and then again, it becomes so sentimental. Oh, those are the first studs that I purchased, but then your daughter's going to wear them on her 16th birthday or whatever, and then they become, you know, part of their history, if you will. But I think the tennis bracelet, a pair of studs and a hoop is just always like so classic. We do the very best with our little Huggies, and I didn't bring those out today, but they're so comfortable on the ear. And we make them, what makes them special is we do them in emerald cuts, ovals, pear shapes, and they just hug the ear. They're very comfortable on the phone. They're classic. You start there.
And as a diamond stylist, you know, in the fashion lexicon, the fashion faux pas, a thing you shouldn't be doing, is there such a thing in a jewelry faux pas?
Gosh, honestly, everything kind of goes right now. Over the years, it's been, like when I first started, everything was yellow gold. And people that would want their ring in like white gold were a little bit like a little off, like not as current, if that makes sense. So that happened, all yellow gold, and then then platinum really came out in the 80s, and everything went to platinum, but you still kind of saw the yellow gold. And then
Rose gold is never a thing in the
rose gold had a moment. Rose gold had a moment. It was short. I knew it would be short. I predicted that. But it was hot, and a lot of girls went with that for their wedding rings. But it was short-lived, which is good. I mean, there's still a time and a place for that. And you know what I found is our girls that love rose gold don't ever stop loving rose gold.
It's true.
So it's great. There's a place.
There's also a thing where your skin tone, where your skin tone is not going to change with whether you're going to grow old or not. I mean, it's not a possibility, but rose gold look better. For example, rose gold look better on me than yellow gold ever will. So it will be a choice thing, which is why I always found it odd that a metal color can have a trend on the long run, because that's what suits you best.
I'm kind of off track a little bit. Like I don't conform very easily. So for instance, when someone would come in and say, what's my birthstone? I'd say it's whatever you want it to be. So I feel like what looks best on me is what I like. And skin people will disagree with that. Like color analysis, for instance, would definitely agree with that theory. But if yellow gold is big, and it's really been big in fashion over the last, 5-10 years, then you're not going to wear white because it looks better on you. You want to stay current, right? But then there's those people that really aren't into the trends. They're just collectors of nice pieces, and there's a place for that. Absolutely. But if you're style conscious and kind of trendy, then you're just going to wear what you like and what's current at that time.
So that's the thing. What piece of advice can you give to a girl who wants to buy for herself or being gifted a piece of jewelry? What's the best piece of advice you can give that person when it comes to a choice that obviously comes with a price?
Like I said, as far as style, I think round is a very safe place to go. But let's say that you love ovals. If you love ovals, you're going to love them even when they're gone, even when they've trended and they're, a little bit behind. And let's just say that I kind of like when someone steps out of the box a little bit. Like ovals had a great big moment for the last 5 or so years. They've just been kind of the deal for the young, newly married, picking their first engagement ring. But then I think it's so much fun when someone pops up, like it just happened with Selena Gomez, I think. She ended up with a marquise. So guess what? Now the market is kind of going out of marquise. I've also watched it trend though, because like I said, when I first got in the business 38 years ago, it was marquise and round. Then it went to princess cut. That was big. Everyone had a princess cut. I will say the other classic is emerald cut. It's quiet, it's sophisticated. Not very many people have it. More so now, it's definitely become more popular, but it was always quite that kind of quiet sophistication, if you will. So it always had a moment. It's always been there in the background behind the rounds. These are just my opinions, This is just based on my opinions. I don't know what, people don't really know would say about that, but.
And you seem and you are passionate about your job. You've been in the industry for 38 years. When you say, I love my job, what's the first memory that comes to mind, like an anecdote, like an experience, an encounter, a sale that you've done over time that's pretty much puts you back to, I know why I'm doing this?
The people. It's all about the relationships with me. That's the one thing I miss, not being on the other side of the counter. I miss those clients. They became my very best friends. They're still my very best friends, even leaving them. So I would say the relationship, but then that moved right into with me as I, currently am on the other side of the counter in a wholesale situation, working with a brand. Now my clients are my retailers. And I don't get to work with them as much as I did, of course, on a daily, but then it's this team that I work with. Norman, I can tell you I've been around a long time and I have never seen a group of women and men love their boss like they love him. And that says a lot, because sometimes bosses have to make tough calls and they kind of have to come in a bad mood sometimes, and he does. But
he's a human being.
He's just human. But you know what? I talked to them a little bit yesterday and they love him. They call him boss. And it's so cute. And they know that he would have their back. He's not a pushover, make no mistake, but he has a lot of respect for his employees. And I think that is just so admirable. It's a good team. And so that's become my relationship now, is them on this side of the counter.
With beautiful pieces to work with.
So
and try on and wear and talk about.
And that's the thing. It's like, I can't think of anywhere I'd rather be. There's not a company out there that means more to me than this company. And it's because I sold them for so long. I became so attached to the brand. And I mean, look at this fabulous piece that we created, our designer created just in the fall. That's pretty special. You need to put it on because it's a collar, but the way that it feels on is it's got weight, but it's comfortable. That's pretty special. So it's fun that he's sticking with the classics, but this is a perfect example of how he stays, fashion and makes those hero pieces, those
with color diamonds.
Unicorn.
Because also yellow diamond, as much as blue and pink diamonds, have always also been in trends as modern and rarity and quality to some extent.
Well, he's a very smart diamond buyer. That's probably the biggest thing I can say about him, is he's a very smart diamond buyer. He knows exactly what to buy. He knows budget. He knows what's great. I've heard him just, no, that's too much, that we won't pay that. He knows the market so well, but he's done it for so long. He also has a gift of knowing what's coming, and he's just an excellent diamond buyer. That really comes down to it. So then you've got all these pieces. Those are all yellow pairs. And then, yellows will kind of take side stage for a little bit and they won't be as popular. But he's already on to, this is what's going to happen. So I need to invest in the marquee. I need to invest in the pear shape. But then he's still got these over here. So when that comes back around, and I think that's the number one thing, is he's just got a plethora of big pieces.
Do you have an insider's advice on what should we think of next? What should we invest in terms of shape, or in terms of color, or in terms of trend?
Yellows are really hot right now. Yellow jewelry, yellow diamonds have been, I love that, because they are special, because not everyone's going to choose that. So then if you're the girl that likes to stand out, again, you have to love it. You don't buy something because it's hot or because it's coming. You have to love it. Like, it has to speak to you. But yellows have been really big. And I think I think marquise are coming. They're having their little moment with, I'm gonna tell you, with Hollywood being so close, we get a lot of, whatever they're buying. But you have to be ready for that, and then it'll trend and it'll go, and then the next thing will come around. But I will say that rounds and emerald cuts, they don't ever leave. You'll see more rounds than emerald cuts, but they never leave. They're just classic. And they're quiet, so they're not brilliant. They're not faceted like a round. They're actually a step cut. So they're just very sophisticated and very elegant, timeless.
I think we should end on that specific word, timeless, because that's what diamonds are.
They so are. And I will say this, the market right now, I hate to say it, it's kind of a dirty word, but the LAB word, I get asked a lot how that's affecting our business. And it's not, because maybe a little bit, but a luxury client, someone that loves luxury, someone that is willing to spend the money, would never want a diamond that was made in a microwave. They would want it to come out of the earth. They would want that history behind it. It's like, do you want a fake handbag? I mean, though it's real properties, it's still that mentality.
Yeah, but I think you have to see it in a way, and I guess we'll save some time for maybe another debate on lab-grown versus blind diamond, but I generally believe that it will open up a new spectrum of clients who would never think about owning or wearing a diamond because they couldn't afford it. And now they can have access to a lab diamond, which probably will then give them some education about diamond, which then will become new clients from blind diamond
for it. There's definitely a place, but it hasn't affected our industry because of the luxury aspect of it. So,
well, thank you so much for sharing all.
It's a pleasure. I love your accent. You're beautiful. Thank you for having us.
And thank you for sharing all of this and trying on those mesmerizing beauties.
You're so welcome. It's been a pleasure.